Good evening. Thank you for being here with me in Business AWANI.
Thank you.
All right, let's just go straight to the drill. All right, as you would have experienced it yourself, the past few weeks have been very difficult for Cadbury as a brand, I must say. So tell me, how has the sales been for Cadbury?
Obviously, when the consumer confidence is dented, the sales have taken a dip. But I wouldn't be too worried about sales and financial numbers. I think what our focus at this point in time is working to get back the consumer confidence, because that is of prime importance. The second piece is ensuring that our employees who felt hurt, 80% of our employees are Muslims, and when this false alarm was raised, it hurt them a lot. So we are very focused on getting the consumers back, and the results that have come are basically saying what we have always believed, that all our chocolates in Malaysia are 100% halal.
Let's just go straight to the employees first. So how have you managed the feelings of your employees who have worked with Cadbury and now they're shocked with this news? So how has that been managed?
I think the core at all times was to keep communicating with the employees. Obviously, there were emotional reactions. People said, look, how can anybody say something like this? We are Muslims. We believe in making halal chocolates. We've been doing that for 40 years in this country. So yes, but we spoke to them saying, look, we are absolutely confident. Let Joachim tests happen, and when the results come, we will all live to see, what is there. 100% halal. That's what the results say. Today morning, we got back our halal certification for those 2 specific batches. The same employees are now smiling.
And that is that's a good news to know that it's 100% halal, but you cannot deny that there are some damage happening. And what are some of the impacts other than employees being hurt and customers' trust being broken, as well as the sales? Are there any other sort of impact on Cadbury as a brand?
Yes, I think the impact has to be looked at in a couple of ways. I think the first impact obviously has been on the brand equity, right? And that has led to a drop in sales for a short period of time.
Is that a vast drop?
I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Okay.
Because I've told you the key focus is the consumer, getting the confidence of the consumer. So the first impact has been on the brand equity. I think the second impact was on our own employees, right? The third impact has been on the consumers. The fourth impact has been on the credibility of the country as a destination for investment. What's happened has happened. We are hoping, and sincerely I'm hoping, that the relevant departments take the learnings out of this false alarm that was raised, and going forward, such kind of thing should not happen to anybody. Why only Cadbury? I don't wish this for anybody in this country. It's a beautiful country of beautiful people, right? And we should not destroy its credibility with such incidents.
Speaking of that, there has been a leak in the information about the ingredients, and now it's proven false. It's a false alarm. So what do you actually know about the leak? Do you think this is an act of probably sabotage? If so, would you take any legal actions?
Okay, let me address your first question on legal action. We are in the business of selling biscuits, chocolates and salty snacks. We are not into litigation. Yeah, that's one. Second, I think this question is better answered by MOH than by us. As far as we are concerned...
But it has damaged the Cadbury as a brand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are now focused on moving forward and saying, what is it that we need to do to get our consumers back, to get the equity back? And actually there are 3 kinds of consumers. When this incident happened, there was one set of consumers who said, look, we believe that Cadbury cannot do anything wrong. The brand has been there for 40 years and we believe the brand. Fantastic. There was another set of consumers who kind of got a question in their mind after what happened, and very naturally, I think those people with the JAKIM results saying that our chocolates are 100% halal are also back and eating Cadbury chocolates. There's a third set of people who've been very emotional, who've been very reactive, and their anger came out in various forms and which resulted in security concerns and so on and so forth for us. I think for them, it'll take a little bit of time. But we are very, very sure even those consumers will come back. We've been in the country for 40 years, you know.
And to answer my other question, that if you think this is a sabotage, what do you think?
I think you would, I would ask you to put that question to MOH.
Okay.
Right. I wouldn't want to look at what happened so long as the concerned departments have got the learnings. Any future abnormalities in the tests, they should first be verified internally and then be shared with the public. Otherwise, the amount of stress we've caused to the Malaysian consumers, I don't think that's worth it.
Fair enough. All right. Later on, we will ask you more on the Cadbury as a brand and how is it moving forward now that it is proven that it's 100% halal. But we have to go for a short break. Kita akan kembali selepas ini dengan diskusi kita mengenai masa depan Cadbury. Okay, Sunil. Now that it has been proven 100% halal by JAKIM, what's next for Cadbury as a brand?
I think we have to work at various levels. The first level of work that we've already started is with the consumer, right? If you've seen what we've been saying in the newspapers for last 3-4 days, is basically communicating this result and assuring the consumers in what we always believed. That's one. Second, we are talking to all our customers, our trade partners, retailers. You know, some of them after this had taken these stocks off their shelves. They are now getting it back. So we are very focused on ensuring that our product is available as it was always available. And then there is going to be ongoing communication with the consumers, right, till we are absolutely sure that all of them have come back and have not come back but also got a lot more people to eat Cadbury chocolates.
And speaking of communicating to the consumers, Cadbury has a varying market. Just speaking in the Malaysian context, Cadbury has a varying market of consumers. And so what are the different ways of talking to these consumers? As you know, a lot of conversation is going on in the social media, as well as the consumers who are more comfortable with peer-to-peer sort of conversation. So what are the different ways of communicating to these consumers?
I think the first one is the advocacy that happens through people within the organization, right? When I am talking to my friends or the colleagues in the organization are talking to their friends and family, they are talking to them and eating the chocolate so that, you know, everybody's convinced. Then you look at our Facebook page, we are educating the consumer, giving them the relevant information for them to feel confident about the brand. There is the conversation that you and me are having today. Hopefully our consumers will get the confidence, right? The conversations that we will have through various forums that we create for ourselves in the store to be talking to the consumer. And then obviously there is above the line advertising that will happen to convince the consumers of something which we were always convinced.
I know that you will have some sort of advertisements and all sorts of communications on social media to gain this trust again. In a typical Muslim psyche, I think the issue of halal and haram is very, very important, you know, in the products that they actually consume. So how will you gain their trust again in saying that when you get your chocolates at the shelves in the supermarket, it's halal, it's proven halal, it's healthy and halal. And you know that now these Muslim consumers, just specifically in Malaysia, they have probably an undesirable perception towards the brand Cadbury. Do you think there would be, there might actually be considering, or maybe you can consider to actually create a whole new brand altogether to actually diminish the perception that they had, or how?
I don't think we need to create the new brand, because we've been here for 40 years, right? This one false alarm has raised questions in consumers' mind, but the results that we have got pretty much prove what we've always said. So I don't think there is any need to create a new brand at all.
Even if
Let me just
okay.
complete. We've been here 40 years. There's never been an incident like this before. We've been trained by HDC, which is the marketing arm of JAKIM, on how to comply with all the halal requirements. All our finished goods, raw materials, location, everything is halal compliant. About 10 years ago, we formed an internal halal committee, which has a representation of each and every department. And the core task of this committee is to ensure that on an ongoing basis, we are fully compliant with the halal requirements. Our company globally is very, very particular about product safety, product quality, hygiene. It is stated in our internal documents here saying that, look, halal in this country is a non-negotiable top priority. So that's the kind of seriousness with which we as an organization take this halal compliance. And once again, I'll go back to tell you that the fact that the retest happened and everything came 100% clean, and also the fact that our certificates have been reinstated today morning, speaks volumes about the efforts and the seriousness of the company.
If I may, there has, you mentioned that there is an internal committee that ensures that everything is halal and Sharia compliant. However, there are leaks that created this controversy of having porcine and pig DNA in your chocolates. So how did this happen with an internal committee in Cadbury?
There have been no leaks from Cadbury. Right? We were informed by the concerned ministry saying that these are some of the reports that are come out on the social media, and that is what it is. We do not have any conclusive evidence, and I think any more questions on this are best put to the relevant ministry. I mean, I'm unable to answer those questions because we are very focused on saying, let's move forward, get the learnings, ensure this is not repeated. Right? And no other company goes through this, and the Malaysian consumer does not need to go through this stress ever again. I think that's what the focus going forward is.
So now, just briefly, because we're about to end our discussion here. Finally, as a consumer myself, how can you convince me as a typical consumer when I go to a supermarket, to a shelf, how do I know if your product is halal or not? Where can I check? What sort of consumer education are you planning to give to your consumers moving forward from this controversy?
Okay. If the product carries the halal logo, which is, what JAKIM certifies us, only then we can put it there. I think you can close your eyes and eat that product with confidence.
So I can go home now and buy a Cadbury.
And if it is said, we are saying there that it's halal certified, close your eyes, enjoy. That's what Cadbury Dairy Milk is all about.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us, Sunil.